Harris talking about going after price gouging, talking about subsidies for housing, talking about a middle-class tax cut. Okay, Trump saying, no, I'm going to do the tax cut. I'm going to cut regulations. Wharton takes a look at it, the University of Pennsylvania. That's where former President Trump went to school. They say Trump would put the country in a nearly $6 trillion hole. Kamala Harris, $1 trillion hole. But to get there, Harris has to raise taxes while Trump promises to cut them. Ah, the how. The how is what makes it tricky. So, which is better? Let's discuss. Stephen Moore helped write Trump's 2017 tax cuts, and he's about to try to strangle me with my assessment of them. He also wrote the book called Trumponomics. Brian Tyler Cohen is an influencer, more than 2 billion YouTube views. Kind of makes me jealous. And the author of Shameless, Republicans' Deliberate Dysfunction and the Battle to Preserve Democracy. BTC, Stephen Moore, thank you both for being here. First, Stephen Moore, tell me why. Good to have you, brother. Stephen, tell us why those boobs at Wharton got it all wrong.
First of all, I wish I had 2 billion viewers on my YouTube. That's pretty impressive.
I know. It makes you jealous. Go ahead.
It does. It does make me jealous. Okay, so look, we don't have to look at some universities' models of what might happen if this, if Trump wins or Kamala Harris wins. We've had 4 years of Donald Trump in office, and we've had Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in office for almost 4 years, not quite. And what is the result of that? Well, if you look at, for example, incomes of the middle class, this is based on Census Bureau and Bureau of Labor Statistics data, the official data. Under Trump, the average family gained about $5,000 in income after inflation. That's a pretty good number. It was one of the best for a 4-year term. Under Biden and Kamala Harris, the average family has lost $2,000 in purchasing power. That is to say, the average family today is poorer today than they were when Biden came into office. Now, the other one thing you mentioned is
all right,
the
hold
debt.
on. Stephen, one point at a time. One point at a time.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you make of the disparity argument that Stephen makes?
Look, the whole world was dealing with inflation, so it's not exactly fair to say that inflation is some factor that only impacted the United States when it impacted the entire world. And in fact, the U.S. has the strongest economy in the entire world under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris right now. So again, to point to this disparity as if it's some knock on what Biden and Harris have done during their time in office doesn't really make sense, and it shows us actually overperforming the entire rest of the world.
All right, quick bounce question to you, Brian, then back to Stephen.
Yeah. Well, look, that doesn't answer the question.
Here's the bounce question. I'm going to indulge. Stephen, give me a second. Give me a second to prove myself. I'm going to indulge your curiosity.
Okay, good.
But Brian, the simple politics of it is, am I better off than I was 4 years ago?
Exactly.
Do you lose on that basis?
Right now, if you want to know whether not only whether families are better, but the entire United States is better, Donald Trump left office with net loss of 3 million jobs, with a 6.3% unemployment rate, with an economic contraction of 3.4%. Right now, we have 16 million jobs added. We have the strongest economy in the world, and we have the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. So this idea that we're somehow not better off under Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, is a complete denial of reality. In fact, there hasn't even been a single Republican administration in my entire lifetime that's had a stronger economy than a Democratic administration. There hasn't been a single Republican administration in my lifetime that's had more jobs added than a Democratic administration. There hasn't been a single Republican administration in my lifetime that's had a lower unemployment rate than a Democratic administration.
All right.
So I don't know what Republicans are pushing here that is going to actually reflect well on them, but in over 30 years, Republicans have never proved themselves better stewards of the economy than Democrats.
Stephen, what are you pushing?
So before COVID hit, I remember in January, February of 2020, we had the best economy in our lifetime, and I remember thinking, if this continues, Trump was on a path to win a 40-state re-election and landslide, and then we had something called a pandemic. And we made one of the greatest mistakes in American history where we shut down the entire economy. And so you're right. When you shut down every business in America, you lose 40 million jobs. You're right. And we should have never done that. But the point is that even when you take into account the pandemic, people's incomes were higher, and there was a bigger gain than there was under. And how is it that in a recovery in almost 4 years, how is it the average family is poorer today? And by the way, you don't have to ask me, Chris. Just go to the grocery store. Just ask people on Main Street. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And most of them answer that question. The 2/3 of them say, no, I'm worse off today.
All right, so Stephen, counter. Brian, sorry.
It's me. Okay. So it's interesting that you bring up the grocery store. So we had this whole issue of price gougers, and both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have said that they want to focus on these price gougers here. And so when Trump had the opportunity to take the price gougers to account because of high food prices, who did he blame? He blamed Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, in effect giving cover to the exact people who were actually gouging the prices. What did Kamala Harris do when she had her opportunity to say that she's going to bring prices down? She said that she's going to focus on the actual people gouging the prices. So I guess it's up to the American people who they're going to believe here in terms of bringing the prices down. Are you going to believe the politician, the guy who says that in response to price gouging, we're just going to blame the Democrats? Or are you going to believe the politician, Kamala Harris, who says that in response to price gouging, we're going to go after the price gougers themselves?
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.